go! Boom! Hey everybody, welcome back to RC with Adam. My name is Adam. Right now it's mid-March and the coronavirus is in, well, I was going to say full effect, but I guess it's not. It's actually in its infancy, I suppose. But that has not stopped the hordes from buying up all of the toilet paper. That seems to be what the economy is shifting towards. We're kind of going into like a toilet paper system. I'm not sure what the conversion rate is going to be for like dollars per square, but I am not too concerned about not having toilet paper. I'm working on a very clever system to use my dog's hair and turn it into a toilet paper type of thing. But I won't say too much until I get the patents on that. But what I am concerned about is, am I going to run out of sweet, sweet propellers? You know, are those going to dry up? Are they going to stop shipping from wherever they ship from? What are you going to do? Well, the answer may be in your wallet. No, I don't mean money. If you have one of these pieces of plastic, sometimes called a credit card, that it's probably maxed out and worthless because you've spent all your credit and money on toilet paper. In any case, this thing is useless now. Let's see if we can take this useless piece of plastic and turn it into something that will make our quadcopter fly. Let's get started. Side note real quick, I do hope everybody's doing well with the coronavirus thing and that you're like staying out of spitting distance of people. So, you know, just make sure you wash your hands and all that sort of stuff. For this test, I'm going to be using all of these like hotel key card type of things, gift cards. Let's go to the overhead shot. Now the thing is, we need to get these cards into something that can work like a propeller like this. Now, if you notice on the propeller, now I know there is like an airfoil shape to the actual propeller. We can't do a whole lot about that with these flat cards, but there is like this incline right here. There's an angle if you see from like the propeller hub. The other problem is we need to make it so that these are somewhat balanced and then be able to mount them onto here and then just, I don't know, and then just see what happens. Now some of these cards are actually kind of different consistencies a little bit, so that'll be kind of interesting to test out. All right, so let's look at what kind of shape we actually want to make these. Like, how are we going to get these to be like a propeller? Well, I'm not sure. I have a feeling this quadcopter is going to be way too heavy for this. Oh, wait, I just got an amazing idea, I think. And then we take this. It's kind of an airfoil. Then we you know, I mean, we could melt it through the hole and then mold it using. So potentially we could also like basically mold this thing to an existing propeller. Let's cut this down a bit. Let's cut it down like this. Like, don't breathe this, by the way. Okay, and press. I'm pressing down on this. Well, I'll be danged. So that kind of works. So, I mean, we get the shape. Sort of. We sort of get the shape. That's very, very interesting. Yeah, let's keep going with this. This seems to be a promising design. Very little room, but we put that on here, and then we heat this up and press this onto here. I think we're going to have a much better chance of success. Gotta be careful not to like heat up the motor too much or anything. It cools pretty quickly. Alright, so we're left with this, which is just a catastrophe. So that's horrible. That's okay, more trial and error. We're gonna do it like this. Let's give this a shot ski. A shot ski doodle dandy. Okay, so I guess really if we really want to form these things, we're gonna have to get them like spicy hot. So we definitely get more of a shape. Alright, so here's what we got. I have made 4 propellers. Hopefully that's all I need right now. Put a spacer here. Let's just do a quick little proof of concept here. At this point, I have a lot of doubts about this, so if I can even just get this to hover, then I will consider that a success. Okay, here we go. First test, we got a little 550 milliamp hour 4-cell battery, safety glasses. Also, probably don't do this inside if you're doing this. Oh, this is probably going to not go well. Okay, bad things are happening. Very bad sounds. No, this is not good. I'm not going to test this anymore inside. Let's take this outside. Nope. Nope. Oh yeah, it definitely did that. Okay, now that I think about it, maybe it was a little ridiculous to think that I could lift up this whole giant, relatively giant 5-inch quadcopter, the old, Wizard X220 with these homemade propellers. So maybe I can do something smaller, something lighter. This is a homemade quadcopter that I made, and it has these, just in case you're interested, it has these flight test Gremlin, what is this, 5250 kV motors. Maybe we can make some small propellers for this quadcopter, and maybe if we use a 4-cell battery, we can get this thing at least in the air. Let's give it a shot. Okay, now with this quadcopter, we don't have a nut that screws down. We actually have screws that go into the motor bell right here, or the rotor. Invisible, the invisible flame. The cards here at the point that we said is the center. Okay, and the idea here is we now have a center hole that we can put on the motor. And this might actually be a little small, but oh, geez. Ow, 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 ow. Okay, that was dumb. Don't do that, because that's going to be at least a blood blister if it didn't puncture the skin. Yeah, so be really careful when you're putting on your propellers on here. They might grab you and try to kill you. You know what? Honestly, I'm feeling like maybe we should just let's test this without the screws and just see what happens. That's actually looking pretty good. So what we have now is a lot more surface area, even though we don't really have like a propeller shape. We're going to have a lot more surface area or disc area of the blade as it's spinning around. I use the word blade loosely here. So now that we have these on here, what we need to do, heat up the blades here and twist them at an angle. Things are getting crazy. Something like that. Good enough. They're actually kind of starting to look a little bit like propeller blades, but kind of like if someone looked at a propeller and then they like tried designing their own with their eyes closed. This is art, I just decided. This is an abstraction representation of a propeller, and so it's art and things, and you should pay me money now. This is actually super important. I want to make sure that I twist them such that they are going in the right direction. So I'm pretty sure on this one where the propellers are spinning out, we want more twist toward the hub. That actually looks like a propeller. I don't know why I forgot that. That looks like a propeller on an airplane that crashed. But you know what? Good enough. That looks so beautiful. I'm amazed with myself. Wow, 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 wow. All right. Again, if you do try this, I don't know why you would, but if you do try this, don't burn yourself. Don't stab yourself. Be careful. Okay, once again, we're going to do a quick function test here. Eyeball protectors. Oh. All right, so the propeller came off. This is good, actually, because what that tells me is that this thing wanted to go upwards. The propeller was creating enough thrust that it just kind of flung itself off of here. Or it was just unbalanced and just kind of wiggled its way off. But let's go with the first one. Now what we're going to do is actually we're going to make holes in the propeller so that we can screw it down onto the motor and it won't fly away. Also, 4-cell, now that I think about it, is way too much for these motors. But at this point, I'm kind of desperate. This is sort of like a all or nothing kind of situation right now. So let's get started. This should actually be pretty easy. Oh, that's going to go way too far down into the motor. Wait. Do these screws even fit? Another idea. Okay. So let's say we take theoretically, the propeller. Wow, wow, wow. Boom! Did you see that? It was hovering. Time to take this outside. See if we can get this thing going here. I'm gonna stand farther back. So let's see, it's an auto level right now. Whoa! Whoa! Wow! 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 All right, now it's in air mode. Ooh, it's very finicky, like on the throttle and stuff. But so far so good. It doesn't sound very good. It sounds really, really loud. Yeah, it can't do much more than just like hover. It's really, really loud. Oh yeah. If I try and give it like much more than just enough. Oh shoot, that's hot. Oh gosh, that's hot. That's very, 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 very inefficient. But it will hover. It will hover. But if I try to give it more throttle than just enough to hover, it will just it doesn't really go anywhere. It just creates more noise and stuff. But it does hover, so technically that thing was flying. Alright, so you can hear it's really loud. I put a 3-cell, like 450 milliamp hour on there instead of a
instead of a 4-cell. So can't really catch itself. It just kind of it can do a flip. It actually has, I mean, it has good enough thrust to flip itself around, but can't really catch itself. I'll have to go up higher. And you could definitely like just sort of, you know, you could fly around. You couldn't really do any like normal freestyle acrobatic type stuff. Ooh, I almost had it that time. I'm also really not used to these rates. These are really horrible rates. I don't know how I ever flew this thing before, honestly. The curve is just like, wow. There we go. Okay. All right. Let's take her. See, now let's just see how high we could go. See, it doesn't go fast. Like we could go way up, you know, if we need to like you know, send up our distress signal or something like that. You know, we just can't do it very fast. We got some wind that we're dealing with too. So it probably flies like a quadcopter that was built like several years ago. I think I'm running low on my battery power. Oh, yep, I'm out of battery. I am done. All things considered, it's actually not that terrible. You can definitely fly it straight up. You can definitely hover it. You can fly it around. It just doesn't, it's not very controllable, and it's really horrible for these motors. I'm just murdering these motors. I know I am. But technically, it does work.
Well, there you have it, folks. It took a while, but we got it to fly, so technically, yes. Technically, you can make your own propellers out of credit cards or hotel key cards, or basically just a piece of plastic, and they could possibly work. Now, I would love to hear what you learned from this video. I'll tell you what I learned was that just because you can make your own propellers out of pieces of plastic doesn't necessarily mean that you should. But if you have to, you could. Oh, just another thing that I learned, just to make this a little bit more educational, I guess, is that sort of rapid prototyping and testing is very useful. So like, instead of necessarily getting everything just how I think it's supposed to work on these propellers, getting it how I think it might work, and then testing it out, you know, here on the bench, obviously do it safely, and then seeing what issues come up. Because a lot of times when you're building a project that you're just experimenting with, the problems will show up very quickly, and then you can address them as they come up. But like, there might just be some simple thing that you overlook or you didn't think about until you actually try your creation and experiment, and then you find out, oh yeah, we got to change that. So early testing and prototyping can be very useful and save you time and frustration overall. Also, interestingly enough, it appears that these propellers, or sort of the homemade style of propellers where there's not really an airfoil, it's just basically like a piece of plastic. There's pretty much like a maximum thrust and like a maximum speed. And once and this is true of propellers, like real propellers as well, is that, you know, once you get to that speed that they produce the maximum amount of thrust, any speed over that, any more RPMs that you give the motor, is just going to create noise and heat, as we saw when this thing was hovering around. And the other reason why I was even able to get this working at all is because I went from using a really big, heavy quadcopter like this to a very small, much smaller, lightweight quadcopter, and it has these fast motors on here, so we were able to get this up to speed with as little voltage as possible. So we were able to, instead of have the extra weight of a 4-cell battery, we took the weight down to a 3-cell battery, actually a smaller 3-cell battery, and it actually flew better that way. I guess the big takeaway here is that decreasing weight is better than trying to increase thrust or power. So the less weight that you have to actually lift up in the air, then you're gonna actually get more out of whatever thrust your motors are creating. So I hope this helps you. Now you can sleep at night knowing whether or not you can technically make propellers out of your old credit cards. Thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. Thanks for hanging out with me. And if you have any other video ideas or fun stuff that you want to see on this channel, because I am all about fun stuff and making projects and all kinds of things like that, let me know. Leave me a comment down below. Stay safe out there, guys, and I will see you on the next one. Oh, one more thing. Make sure you click all the buttons, like the subscribe button and the share button and the like button, and just all the buttons that are around this video, because that would like help a lot, because YouTube is like, hey, they must click the buttons or you're not important. And so I'm like, okay, I'll tell them. And anyway, I just appreciate it if you did. Thanks. I'll see you. I have a sticky note here somewhere. This board right here has been collecting sticky notes. See, it looks like I started this around December 4th of 2018. Holy smoke. And check this out. I have had this idea on this board of sticky notes, and it says credit card props since 2018. I've had this idea just rattling around in my brain. So we can take this post-it note and just get rid of it, because we got that one in the bank. Feels really good to have done that and finally tested that out. That's a lot. That's quite a bit. So I'm going to be doing a lot of fast forwarding, a lot, or just jump cuts. Jump cut. But I also love having that, you know, the background like it is. I feel like it's kind of... Oh good, I'm so glad the microphone is working. Wow. Q&A, Quad Anatomy 101. Throttle is key to power looping. For split S's, focus on throttle I can't read my own writing. Focus on throttle rather than pitch when pulling out. This right here is the pinnacle of my design career. It's all downhill from here, folks.